What is the ancestors? In the person of the person, there are many persons. That is why in our African tradition, when we greet you in plural. Sanibonani, Dumelang, Tobela, Avusheni. We greet in plural because we are greeting them in you. In the person of the person, there are many persons. You are not alone. You are 33% your mother, 33% your father, 33% yourself. Inside of your mother in you is her mother and father in her. Inside of your father in you is his mother and father in him. So it goes on and on and on and on. So you are a community of people. You are the ultimate representative of all that came before you. You are the total summary of all that make you up from the very beginning of your ancestral line until to now. That line, it goes back to the first ancestor, which is what we call God. In our African spirituality, God is the first ancestor. So now, that being the case, ancestral system is our African system. Your DNA, your build-up, your DNA makeup is what we refer to as ancestors. They are the building block of your existence. So you can't say, I don't believe in ancestors. This is pagan. Ancestors there's nothing to believe in. It's not a religion. You don't have to believe in ancestors. You have to acknowledge the ancestors. So there is no such thing as ancestral worship, like most European sociologists and anthropologists and scholars have came here and said, we Africans, we worship ancestors. We are engaging in ancestral worship. We don't have such thing. We don't have such thing. It's not our thing. We don't worship ancestors. We don't believe in ancestors. We don't have a word for ancestor worship. When we say Riapahla, when we say Pabadimu, when we say Musebetsi Wabadimu, none of these words is equals to ancestor worship or translate to ancestor worship. There is no African word for ancestor worship. We don't have such thing. So Rebolela ka Badimu. Now, Badimu, this form part of our African trinity. We Africans, we the Bantu people, have a trinity of Mudimu, Badimu, Lebotu. Now, these are represented by the 3 stones that we use when we make fire. We use 3 stones. So anywhere in Africa, when you travel, you find people who use 3 stones when they make fire. You must know that we share common ancestral origin. And these 3 stones represent our trinity, which is Mudimu, Badimu, Botu, or God, ancestors, and Ubuntu. So now, when we talk of ancestor, we don't talk of ancestor worship. We don't talk of ancestral religion. We talk of a true homage that one pay to his foreparents who lived before him. So acknowledging that those who came before you is not a worship, it's a homage. So we don't engage in ancestral worship. We don't worship our ancestors. So it is a misnomer and misrepresentation of African facts that we need to clarify. As Rastafari, one of the things we are here to do is to make sure that we wipe out all misconception about ourselves as African people, about our ancestors, about our existence, about our cosmology, about our ontology, about our very philosophy of life we call Butu or Ubuntu, that sometimes we refer to it as humanity. Ubuntu or Butu does not mean humanity, So yes, it's about humanizing the human. It's about the humanization of the human, but it does not mean humanity. That is a vulgarization of it by Western scholars. So now when Rastafari youths come up and say they don't believe in ancestors and come up and read the Bible and start to mention ancestors of other people, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, basically nobody who is written in the Bible is alive. Even those 3 people that were raised from the dead, I think Jesus rose 2 Elijah rose one from the dead. Even those who were rose from the dead, they were raised from the dead to come and die. None of them is alive. The people, they said Jesus rose Lazarus from the dead. Lazarus is dead. So everybody from Genesis to Revelation is dead. So the Bible is the book of the dead. It's not the book of the living. Nobody in the Bible is alive. So it's a book of the dead. So everybody who is mentioned in the Bible is dead. So if you saying making reverence to the dead and remembering your dead foreparents is paganism and evil, then you are deeply and highly brainwashed. And that is that brainwash that we need to deal with, to sort it out, to get you straight, an African child, because none but ourselves can free our mind. Much as others can free our bodies, but none but ourselves can free our mind. We have to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. And mental slavery begin with what we believe about ourselves. What we believe, what we were told about ourselves. That is what we need to make sure that we wipe out completely out of our mind. And then we set ourselves in the path of African Renaissance, in the path of African realization, African self-determination, and African freedom. It is important. Otherwise, we will remain a laughing stock of other people. Let me show you. This is now a way to Iskumbuto, which means